I am so pumped today, but not about this bike, although I am pumped about that. Another video for another time. I'm just seeing it again in a new way. But I'm pumped about this because if you've been following the channel, you know I've put an S&S Air Cleaner, S&S slip-ons on the bike, and you know I've been struggling with the Screaming Eagle Pro Street tuner, which I found to be a colossal pile of garbage. So today I got in a Dynojet Power Vision 4. I've connected it up, and I bought it from Moto, and they sent me a tune, but I can't seem to retrieve it. So I've sent them a message. They claim it's going to take 7 to 10 days. I've got a business trip coming up, so probably won't do another video on this bike before next weekend. Weather permitting, we'll get the tune they sent me and put it in here. But for now, I've put the Dynojet tune for a set of Screaming Eagle 2-into-2 slip-ons, which I'm going to assess would be most similar to my setup, and an aftermarket air cleaner. The whole thing was pretty simple. The firmware update did crap out the first time, full disclosure. Wasn't a big deal to recover it. Very easy, and from that point forward, very, very straightforward. And I've not run this before, so you're going to experience it just like I'm going to experience it. Except it's not your money if the bike blows up or grenades the engine. And I have set up some gauges. Now I will say, I do kind of prefer the Screaming Eagle gauge dashboard kind of layout. This is kind of janky. Just the fact you've got to scroll through them is kind of weird. But yeah, let's see what we got. We're connected. It says we're connected. And we're going to go back to live data, and we're going to start the engine. So, starting the engine, I expect it to reset the connection to the tuner because it cuts the power to the Bluetooth or to the diagnostic port. So that power has to come back so the Bluetooth can power back up and pair back with the phone. All right. I see data trickling in here. What I'm most curious about is going to be knock counters here and here and knock intensity. So we're going to record this if we can. Will it let us? I don't really know. There we go. Awesome. We're going to record this data so we can look at it after the fact. Let's go. Now earlier today, I did a run with the Screaming Eagle tuner and the base stage 1 tune. They only give you one option, that is stage 1. And when I did that, instead of using the auto tune or self-tune function, the detonation events that I've been noticing were a lot less. You'd basically get one event, like if you tip into the throttle, and I'm assuming at that point the engine would retard the spark a little bit, and the events would stop for a bit. Then at some point it would just get the idea to try it again. And I'm expecting this could happen here. I just kind of want to see, you know, how it goes. We're not going to be too hard on it. I really want to wait and get that tune from Moto. Now right away, I can tell that the throttle is a lot smoother than it was with the Screaming Eagle tune. The Screaming Eagle tune on this bike with the setup, you had a kind of a, I won't call it jumpiness or snatchiness, but we'll just say that the throttle tip in was logarithmic. So you got a lot of throttle real quick, and then it kind of got linear after that. I'm not noticing that with this tune. The bike does feel different. It feels a little rougher, maybe. I'm not sure how to explain it. Not in a bad way, just a bit more tactile. So far, so good. No engine knocks counted at all. Oh, there was one. We'll go back and see how intense it was after the run. But, I mean, that's no worse than what I was getting earlier with the Screaming Eagle canned stage 1 tune. Now, what is interesting to me is earlier when I would get knocks, I was getting them on the front cylinder, and now I'm getting them on the back cylinder, which is where I would expect to get one first, simply because that back cylinder runs a little warmer because it's behind the front cylinder. It doesn't get as much air. If you've ever looked at a Ducati with the old school air cooled engine, you'll notice that their L twin it's tilted forward in an L, and one of the reasons that Ducati did that was they could change the cooling fins on the engine so that the fins on the front and the top cylinder, because again it was an L, were both in line with the wind. So if you look at them, it's kind of weird because you'd expect them to be in the same direction on each cylinder, and they're not. Pretty genius, honestly. Harley doesn't really have an easy way to accommodate the fact that their 45-degree V-twin has a cylinder one behind the other. One will always block the other. Subaru Boxer engines were also famous for something where one of their cylinders would always detonate before the other ones. It's really interesting to me how these engine designs have these thermal quirks, if you will. Oh, the light coming off the lake is so pretty, isn't it? So nice. So far, one knock. This is a massive improvement. We would be at least 7 or 8 on the Screaming Eagle by now. We're gonna get up from behind this boat. You still got water coming out of it from being in the water down there, or the lake rather. Well, that got us a couple more. I'm not hearing them, but you can see that the gauge went up quite violently there, but I mean, we're on it. It'll be interesting to me when I communicate with Moto and ask them, like, is a little bit of knocking normal? I know a lot of engines in cars, for example, they'll advance the timing until they hear a knock or detonation event, and then they'll pull it a little bit. And I gotta kind of wonder if that's happening here. But so far, so good. I'm not seeing anything too concerning, to be frank. Just couldn't get the arrow, could I? That would be asking too much. This is a fairly dangerous intersection. If you're a new rider, when cars can come down that hill like that, they may not give you enough time to turn if they're going fast. Let's take a minute to talk about what the heck is a knock. And this isn't kind of like a, you know, don't knock it till you tried it kind of thing. A knock is another, slang, if you will, for detonation or pre-detonation, perhaps. And what that means is the gas is exploding in the cylinder as the piston approaches the top, where it should be squishing the air and the fuel together, the gas is exploding too quickly, or perhaps it's igniting on its own. So an engine tuner will tell the ignition when to fire that spark, and it usually fires it a little bit early relative to the squish, and it expects the fuel to ignite at a specific rate. And if it happens too fast, it basically pushes back on that cylinder a bit. Now this could be caused by any number of things. It could be caused by running crappy fuel in your bike, which I'm not doing. I'm running 93 octane. And the lower the octane, the faster the burn, therefore the easier it is for a knock to occur. It could also be caused by just a bad tune. And by bad tune, I don't mean the person was malicious, it's just not aligned to the engine and its current operating, parameters, if you will. It can be caused by the engine being too hot, and with an air-cooled engine that can easily happen because you don't have a robust way of regulating the engine temperature. In a water-cooled engine, you could just pass coolant or water through the radiator, and you even have a fan you can kick on and off to help with that if the bike's not moving. With an air-cooled, oil-cooled engine, you don't really have anything other than passive cooling and a steady rate of the oil circulating around the engine. Very primitive. So, a little bit easier to get knocking if the tune's just not right for the conditions that you're running. And there's a lot of other reasons you can get knocking too. I'm not going to get into all of them here. And y'all, I'm not a professional tuner, obviously, because I'm running around with a can tune on my Harley Davidson. So there's that. Okay, we're going 80. We need to be careful because there's a lot of cops up here on the left. There's a haunted house that they regulate traffic for. It's a big deal around here. I've never been, but let's just say that the wide open throttle in 6th gear is respectable. We just got our first knock on the front and 4 so far in the back. This is remarkably better though, y'all, than the Pro Street tune, Stage 1 tune. That tune compared to this was an abomination. And it's a little sad because Harley is, Screamin' Eagle is Harley, and Harley should know better than anybody on how to tune their bikes. Now, I don't know. Maybe they've nerfed their tunes because of those EPA lawsuits they had a while back. No idea. The throttle is incredibly smooth. That tip end is just buttery. Easily the best throttle response I have, and even getting off the throttle, there's no abruptness right there. A lot of times if the tune is bad or it's not applying any fuel or not giving you any fuel when the throttle is in the closed position, you'll get this abrupt engine braking. But this is downright sublime. This bike feels, the best it's ever felt. Now it is cooler, probably about 8 or 9 degrees cooler than the first time I tried to adjust the Screamin' Eagle tune. But one of the things I'm noticing is we're at 257 degrees-ish engine temp. Of course, it's going to make a liar out of me, but still 257, 260. I've seen the Screamin' Eagle tune on this road and on the same run easily get up to 280, 287. This is a lot cooler, and I'm assuming that's because the fuel mixture is richer. This is really good, y'all. I'm really pleased with this, and I can't wait to see that tune from Moto. Wow. You know, the only reason I ever used that Pro Street tuner was because it came with the bike. If I had spent my own money on it, I would be really upset knowing that this was a more stable app and a better out-of-the-box can-tuned experience. This is so much nicer than the Pro Street tune and software. Oh yeah, this is just a glorious little can map. So if you have any feedback about the Power Vision 4, put it in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. I always want to hear from you guys. Until next time, ride safe.